Somebody walked up to me and said, "Hey dog, what you doing?" I said, "I'm about to come slay some demons." Slay some demons? Yeah, like I slayed your mom last night. Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy, the Insane Game Manic here. See what I did there? I feel like that's like my ultimate form. I'll do a fusion with the anime channel and become the Insane Game Manic. And then all will remember my name. Because it'll be beautiful! Sorry. So, shit's hard, god damn it! Ugh. I'm about to die of heat stroke in this bitch. So, I haven't really talked about Demon Slayer before, and I know a lot of you guys wanted some anime content that didn't have shit to do with Pokemon. That's not going away, but still, we gotta address some other things. And Demon Slayer, I kind of went on a weird kick with. So to give you some history and some basis for this video, I watched the anime when it came out, because I knew it was a Shonen Jump series, but I hadn't read it. I had no prior knowledge of Demon Slayer before I watched the anime. So watched the anime in its entirety, found out the second season is essentially just a movie for what I like to call the train arc, because I don't know the specific names of the arcs. And for a while, I was kind of like, but see, I have the Shonen Jump app, which means I get all the up-to-date chapters of all the main Shonen Jump series that Viz localizes. And I kept seeing tidbits and pieces of Demon Slayer while I go there for my One Piece, my Spy X Family, my Black Clover, my Hero. I go for the other things, and then every once in a while I would sneak over and take a peek, like, maybe look at, maybe like, And I think over this past week, I just said, fuck it. I said, fuck it. Do I really want to watch a watered down version of an arc instead of just reading the original arc? Fuck it, I don't. So I went and read the original arc of the train arc. And then I didn't stop. So in the course of, I want to say 3 days, I caught up to the Demon Slayer manga, which is hard because Viz doesn't have every chapter. They have they picked up Demon Slayer later, and they had to go and back release the other chapters. So like right now there's a gap between, I think, chapter 106 and 154. So there's like a gap of like 40 something chapters because they had to go back and re-release. They're gonna go back and localize them and then put them out in chunks. They're getting there. They just released that recent chunk to 106, so we'll see what happens. So I had to go other means to read those in between chapters, but still, I wanted to kind of talk about and get my thoughts on Demon Slayer. So I'm warning you in advance, this is spoiler territory. I'm probably going to talk about everything, but especially the next arc. Like the next arc specifically is the one that's probably going to come up the most, which is the train arc, which is the one that's getting the movie adaptation. So if you do not want to be spoiled on that specifically, or anything past that, do not read this, do not watch this video. This is for the manga fans of Demon Slayer. So, Demon Slayer is kind of a weird series to me. I get a lot of Inuyasha vibes from it, particularly because it deals with a similar subject matter, except it's less fantastical than Inuyasha is, which is kind of funny considering, like, Inuyasha isn't even crazy fantastical. It's up there, but it's not like up there. And Demon Slayer is more realistic in this. Like, and to give an example of that, Demon Slayer is the kind of show that if a nigga loses his leg, that he's pretty much out of the fight. There is no coming back from losing a limb, an arm or a leg. That's it. That's it. You are no longer worthy in story. And because Demon Slayer is pretty based in reality, it's a weird show because I'm not used to it. It's been so long since I've watched the shonen that's a little that is fantastical, but still heavily bases itself in realism. So like when a character says my chest or my ribs have been broken, and you know everyone knows in a Shonen Jump show, that's like a mild inconvenience. Whereas in Demon Slayer, that's like a life-changing situation. Like, shit, my rib is broken. I can't use my breathing techniques now. I have to figure another way to fight. Like, it actually changes the game in Demon Slayer. So it's kind of a weird experience for me. It also is very fast paced, like its brethren, which I would say in the form of Promise Neverland, Black Clover, My Hero. It's very speedy in that same vein. I guess the problem I have is I think it's one of the only shows of the, and granted, people said this about Black Clover too, and I could see why, but I feel like this show, more than any of the other shows I mentioned, really suffers from the faster pace. Bro, they're already doing the final fight in the manga. Like, in the manga, they're fighting Muzan. They've been fighting Muzan for, like, a while now, actually. I think we're almost in, like, the 200s. And they're already fighting, they're already having what most people would consider the final battle. And a lot of, like, final battle stuff is going on. And I'm like, bro, I don't know why y'all wanted to go through this shit so quickly. I think it hurts it, actually, because there are certain characters I feel like don't get expanded upon or get the time they need, and sometimes sequences of events happen way too quickly, or they happen so close together that there is no emotional, like, connection. Demon Slayer is also kind of formulaic with the way it handles most of its demons, in the sense that, like, usually you're introduced to a demon and then someone's fighting the demon. Most of the time it's Tanjiro, but sometimes you get other examples, and then Tanjiro's kindness is, like, slowly affecting them, so when they die in their final moments, you get, like, a flashback of who they were before, and it's like, oh, they weren't bad, and now you get to see the events that led them down this path of becoming a demon and becoming the kind of demon that they were. Which is fine, but the problem is that happens, like, every time. Like, almost every demon, especially any demon that Tanjiro fights, which is most of them, always have this. And it's not like it's a terrible thing, but it becomes insanely formulaic, and because it's Tanjiro and its main character immunity, you never really have to run the risk of him dying in a lot of these arcs. Even though it's also one of those shows that I think is very opposite of a lot of Shonen Jump shows that, like, you're used to. Tanjiro struggles in, like, every fight, bro. Every fucking fight he's in, it's some type of fucking struggle. I will agree. Actually, I won't say that. But I would say I agree with some of the people's complaints with this current fight with Muzan. There's a particular one a lot of people are saying, and I'm going to leave it as simply as that it's kind of boring. I'm not going to go into any further detail, but if you've read the manga and you're reading that fight, you know why people say it's kind of boring. It's boring for one particular reason. I guess my issue, though, with it is that, like, it's fast-pacing. Like I said, it's formulaic in the way it handles the demon interactions. And then it's also, like, fast-paced where, like, some sequences of events happen so quickly that you're confused. Like, for example, there's a fight way later on with Doma. If you know who Doma is, he has not been introduced in the anime yet, so, and hell, you won't see him for a while. But if you've read the manga, you know who Doma is. There's like a whole thing with him and what he's currently been doing and what he's posing as, and, like, I kind of wish there was an arc based around that society that he had kind of created for himself, versus what ends up happening, which is that you know about it and you hear about it, but, like, you never get to experience it. You just kind of get the first long-winded interaction is you get with Doma is, like, the fight in which you like the fight, like, and I'm like, there's also, like, weird tidbits about, like, certain demons you don't find out until after the fact, like, after they've died, and I'm like Doma is an example of one of those things where he says something about another demon that literally just died, like, a few chapters ago, and you're like, that would have been interesting if you had shown that in, like, sequences. For those who know, I'm gonna just throw it out here. It's the whole, a certain demon doesn't eat women. Specifically does not eat women. It's tied into his previous life character, but by the time we learn this factoid, we never see it. We just learn it from another demon after the demon it's about has died. And you're like, what? And it's like a little things like that. Like this weird pinky promise thing that comes up, and actually in that same fight that I don't remember even reading in the manga. Like, when did that happen beforehand? I think one of the worst sequences, I'm going to throw this out here, So like I said, spoiler warning. Is it fucking does that thing where, so in the anime they do show the scene off, the whole Konoe doesn't like respond normally. But Konoe does that Konoe does that thing where she like flips a coin to figure out whether or not she's gonna respond and how she's gonna respond, pretty much as if she's like emotionless and everything. And in the anime, you get to see Tanjiro flips the coin and be like, if it lands on heads, then you then have to like follow your heart, which is like a big thing for Konoe moving forward in the manga. And obviously, you know what happens in the anime. If you've seen the anime, it flips and he gets it on the first try, and she's like, "How did you do that?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't do anything." And he's like, "Damn it, he didn't do anything." He's like, "But how did you know it was gonna land no hits?" "Oh, I didn't. Literally, if it hadn't have, I would have kept flipping it until it did." So so it's a huge thing for her and her character, and then you don't see her. Like, her development is all off screen, bro. It's so fucking stupid. You see her in very small glimpses. It's like what? Also, so I'm like, what the fuck? The other thing that confused me is that the strength of Hashira, it's set up way higher than what it actually is. And you're like, it's so weird. It's like this show doesn't understand that, like, you can't set up characters. It's like setting up captains and then being like, it's like Bleach, literally, where you set up a captain and then he gets one-shotted. And you're like, that kind of downplays his ability. And it's not even like, at least with Bleach have different captains with wildly different abilities, so you can understand how certain captains do better in other fights. Hell, even Black Clover did that recently with Nozel, where Nozel almost got fucked up by like a Golden Dawn lower rank elf, but like then could like one-shot the fuck out of Dark Elf Patry because type advantages. He still works better against light versus working against bullshit ass compass magic that fucks up his control. So certain abilities he has he can't use because his control is fucked up from the ability. Like, that shit makes sense. Here, it's all they're just stronger humans. So some of them just have. Some of them are just stronger. Like, it's not... So, like... And I hate to admit... And like I said, this is spoilers, especially with the train arc. The next arc coming up, I think... The arc they're turning into a movie, the train arc, to me, isn't that interesting of an arc by itself. What makes it important is literally the very end of it, where it pulls what I like to call a Kuma. If you've seen fucking One Piece, you get why I'm calling it a Kuma moment. It literally is what it's a Kuma, where like the whole arc is about this one other demon, and then at the very end of it, boom, here's a really strong one at the very end of the arc, and you're like, fuck. And like I said, this is spoilers, so don't be surprised when I say this. And then it does that thing that I can't stand in other shows where it fucking kills characters the arc they're introduced. So here, and you gotta understand how this all ties together. The Hashira introduced at the very end of the anime, right? They're introduced, and they're all dicks because of the whole demon thing with Nezuko. And then the next thing, and then the only one that seems to be kind of cool is Giyu and Shinobu. And it's like, oh, and then we just saw how strong Shinobu and Giyu are, right? So then, it's like, well, you need to go talk to the Flame Hashira. I think his name is Rengoku, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And so it's like, oh, you need to go talk to Rengoku. And so the train arc happens where you're helping him fight this train demon. And like, they latch on to him really fucking quick in his introduction arc. And then at the end of the fucking arc, where I don't feel like he did like an insane amount of shit anyway, they introduce like one of the top 3 demons in the goddamn series, and then have him kill Rengoku at the end of the arc. And I'm like, bro, I just got introduced to this character. I'm not that emotionally invested in him yet to be like, oh no. Like, it's so, and that's what I mean by fast pacing. The shit happens so quickly. The only, you know, ironically enough, it reminds me of what happened to Fuegoleon in Black Clover, where the arc he was introduced, he was literally put out of commission. The difference was they didn't kill him in the arc. If you were to put him out of commission, that's one thing. I think that would still be kind of bullshit. Ironically enough, they're both flame-based characters. That's interesting. Is that just like a running joke? The fuck with the fire characters? Hell, even in Well, I'm going to make the reference. It doesn't work all the way because Fire Force is about fire in general. But one of the characters who talks about burning hot passion is an early arc villain and gets put out and gets killed. And you're like, what's up with fucking with the fire character super early in the series? I don't know what it is. But yeah, they introduce him. He doesn't do a lot in the arc. He does some stuff, but he doesn't do a lot in the arc. Like, not a lot compared to considering he's a Hashira. And then gets fucking killed by a dick-ass demon, by like a top 3 demon at the end of the arc, for no other reason than, I'm just showing up. And you're like, what? That seems kind of ridiculous. And like I said, it's that whole killing characters in the arc they're introduced. So in one arc, you managed to downplay the fuck out of the Hashira. Because the Hashira this dude couldn't even hang with a high-tier demon. And some of you would go, well, that's not true. I'm like, bro, listen, you and Shinobu took out the low-level demons like it was nothing. Took out Ruri and that other one like it was a joke, right? Then the next arc comes after the Hashira introduction, and old boy doesn't even really do severe damage. It'd be a different story if it was like a tense-ass fight that lasted 10 to 20 chapters, and at the end of it he dies on some bullshit. Then I could be like, okay, Hashira at least hang really heavy. This dude, they literally had a couple clashes and he died from being punched in the stomach. And it's like, oh, that's lame. And I get what the point is. And I'm not saying you can't kill characters, because obviously Demon Slayer has no problem killing fucking characters. My issue was more so with it was the fact that why is it the first arc he's in? If you're gonna kill him, let me like him enough to where it hurts me when he dies. He had just been introduced. He was kind of a dick in the previous arc. I didn't know enough about him to care about him to feel sad when he died. But then you had Tanjiro and Inosuke and Zenitsu feeling bad and shit. And I'm like, bro, you just met him. Now, I guess the argument is that he's supposed to be immediately captivating. To be fair, Fuegoleon is a similar situation where old bro was only around for a little while, then got put out of commission, but everyone was so fucking excited to see him get back up with his new abilities that he gets in the manga, he gets in the Elf arc, the Elf Invasion arc. But see, the difference with that is you didn't kill him, so he gets more time to show off who he is. Rengoku is I don't feel that bad because he died so quickly. And then if that wasn't nothing else, bro, the next 2 or 3 arcs are literally the same. Not the exact same thing. Not like everyone dies in every arc, but I'm saying it's the same thing that the Hashira ain't shit. Every arc, and not that, but I think the other Hashira have better fights against lower ranking demons. The show is very strong about maintaining the enemy level. The enemies are no joke in Demon Slayer. It also seems kind of dumb that for some reason the higher you go up, the enemy's abilities get really fucking basic. I think the best arc is the one with Usui, the flamboyant Hashira, I think is his name. I think his name is Usui. That arc, I think, is my favorite arc, only because it has a lot of comedy and other shit going on. And then the fight itself is kind of nuts because of how it fucking transpires. The fight itself is ridiculous because it's 2 or 3 different phases, and it's interesting. I think it has the weakest demons character-wise, though. In terms of me feeling emotional attachment, it's not as there, but the fight's so good and the whole situation was set up so well, I'm kind of cool with it. But it's weird to go from the Rengoku, go from old boy dying on some bullshit interaction fight, and then you see this long fight, bro. I swear to God, I feel like a good chunk of Demon Slayer is literally just fights with the main villain of that arc. It's so ridiculous. To give thoughts on the other arcs, there aren't a lot of arcs. Would be I think it's the Sword Smith's arc. That one's fine. It's a little weird, and it's another kind of, I don't know, it reminds me, it's a weird mix of the train arc where it's a mix of the ninja arc. That's what I call the Usui stuff. it's a mix of the ninja arc and the fucking train arc, where it's not like as serious, but it's kind of serious. They're all taken seriously, but I mean in terms of like comedy and the proportion of comedy and death. I think it's fine. It's I don't hate it by any means. It's a little weird, and I feel like Nezuko. By the way, just gonna throw it out here. Nezuko in a lot of the arcs feels like a plot device. Feels like here's a way of allowing some bullshit to happen. Nezuko's like the most Deus Ex Machina character in the manga, just because of how she's used a lot of the time. And it's not all the time, but it is a lot of the time. Like in a lot of arcs, some shit will go down and Tanjiro's all fucked up and all hell's breaking loose. Then boom, here you go. Here's Nezuko on some new demon power bullshit, and it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it seems a little too convenient. But it's not so much where it's stupid, but it is. Some of it's kind of like what you're like, huh? That's how I feel. And then what was after the Swordsmith? The Swordsmith, and then I think it's the training arc. There's not a lot of arcs, bro. Like, if the anime's doing the train arc, there's literally just it's the ninja arc, the Swordsmith arc, and then the training arc, and then the final battle. Right, we're like almost at 200 chapters for Demon Slayer, and there's only like 4 arcs, and one of it's one of those shows that I don't really know how I feel about it at the end of the day. I feel like it has a lot. I feel like it's the one that suffers the most from fast pacing, because you could have stretched some of these arcs out and had these characters be developed more, so that a lot of these moments hit harder. It's not bad by any means. It just doesn't hit where it needs to for me. Ironically, as much as I hate to say it, and I don't want to say it, it's a more efficient version of Inuyasha, but it has less heart because of it. In my opinion, personally, it's a more efficient. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a more efficient / realistic version of Inuyasha, but it has less heart because of it. For me, anyway. Because once you make the demons as formulaic as you fight the demon, you kill the demon, you get a back story on the demon, then the demon dies, it kind of gets uninteresting. There's just, granted, it's not like Inuyasha's perfect, because Inuyasha has a bunch of stupid problems with it, but that's what it reminds me of. A more efficient version of Inuyasha. It just doesn't have the heart. It didn't hit me emotionally the same way Inuyasha did. Inuyasha's a series I wasn't even actively trying to get emotionally invested to. Shit kind of just happened. And they both are stories that deal with demons and tragedy. That seems to be like the running theme with both of those shows. But for some reason, Inuyasha hits me in a different way. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I haven't really decided yet. But we'll see. Anywho, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I kind of just wanted to talk about it because I blazed through the manga so fucking quickly. And it's not like I don't like it. It just, to me, it's weird, especially when I'm hearing about how well it sold. Granted, I think it's because it had an amazing anime adaptation. And probably will have an amazing anime adaptation for the movie. For me personally, it doesn't hit me as good as like even My Hero or Black Clover, because it's too quick and it doesn't carry the same level of heart. One of the other things I'm going to throw out here real quick, I hate Zenitsu's like last fight that we've seen him in so far, because like Demon Slayer is very prideful on its long fights. Particularly because all of its fights have a ridiculous amount of drama and shit in them. Zenitsu's fight in this current arc, it was just like, bruh, that's too quick. Man, there wasn't enough for that. Yo, you could have did more. That was probably the most disappointing fight of the new arc. I really liked. Actually, I would say the same thing for Doma's fight, particularly because Doma doesn't get enough background for me personally. They say a lot. I feel like more of it should have been shown. Especially the stuff with Inosuke in that fight, Inosuke and Konoe. I feel like those characters didn't get as much as they could have gotten out of that fight, because it was so touch and go about the way Demon Slayer handles its characters. Well, sometimes they're relevant, and then they'll go gaps of time without anything really changing about them. And that's how I kind of feel about it. Tanjiro's fight, I think, is the best one. Tanjiro and Gyu's fight, I think, is the best one out of the arc. And maybe the Tokito one. I call it the Tokito fight, but it's not. I only call it because of the blood relation. If you've seen the fight, you know why I say that. It's about the moon, not the sun. If I can't throw out any more hits, I'm still trying not to be spoiler because motherfuckers don't listen and still don't read arcs. It's fine. That's literally how I come out of it. I'm just like, it's cool. I enjoyed it enough, but it doesn't like it. It doesn't make me want to buy the manga or buy the anime. I'm just kind of like, it's one of those shows I'd be content watching and then I'm good with it. It's like it's a very one and done series for me personally. Where like I'll finish it and then it'll be over and then I'll just kind of move on. Whereas you got shows like One Piece and even My Hero, I'll go back and rewatch scenes. And Demon Slayer, it's kind of like I'm just gonna go through it and I'll be good. But hey, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I apologize this video is fucking long. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section. The next video I need to do is on Black Clover, so you'll probably get that in the next few days. We'll see. Life's a game. Play to win. I'll catch you guys later. Hold on a second. It's time for me to go. Fuck. There we go. I bid you farewell. Stay safe.